On the news tonight, Nigeria and United Arab Emirates meet to address gray areas in bilateral relations. NEMA hands over palliatives for flood victims in Oyo State. Nigeria marks World Mosquito Day. Good evening and welcome to NTW News at 7. Thanks for staying tuned with us. I am Olamumi Adeniji. Here are the details. Nigeria and United Arab Emirates, UAE, are already addressing some gray areas in their bilateral relations. The positive signal emanated as President Bola Tinubu today received letter of credence from new ambassadors, including that of the UAE. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, says issues will be resolved soonest.
The work had started even before the presentation of the letters of credence by the ambassador. So this is something that you're going to see changes, issues resolved as quickly as possible.
State House correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab reports that this is the first time President Tinubu would perform such function. The House of Representatives is to review the National Housing Fund Establishment Act of 1992 so as to amend law to be able to meet contemporary house needs. This is coming from the Deputy Speaker Benjamin Okezi-Kalu at the investigative hearing on alleged non-remittance to the fund and the status of the utilization from 2011 to date.
The idea behind the National Housing Fund Act of 1992 is to close gaps in Nigeria's housing deficit. Unfortunately, this seems to be far-fetched. A motion in the House of Representatives in July this year threw up these concerns. An ad hoc committee was mandated to investigate allegations of non-remittance to the fund and the status of its utilization from 2011 till date.
And Nigerians must get what is due to them through the housing funds. We are fully ready for this.
The House of Representatives was therefore alarmed to receive allegations of non-remittance by employers and, in other cases, mismanagement and misappropriation of the hard-earned salaries of Nigerian workers.
Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria presented the total remittances by ministries, departments and agencies of government between 2011 till date. As the Executive Secretary of the Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board explained that the board does not receive remittances directly, rather from the Federal Mortgage Bank on a special arrangement for only federal staff.
Remittance by all stakeholders that contains remitter references
from 2011 to 2023, that's to date, 238 billion, 557 million.
The Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board and Federal Mortgage Bank entered into a partnership, an MOU, which I've also attached here, to grant soft loans at 8% interest rates to federal public servants to improve on their houses, to renovate their houses. The loans were called home renovation loans.
So are they aware all over the Federation, federal workers, that this was available at that time?
Federal Mortgage Bank did, I understand, a very serious sensitization program.
The Association of Real Estate Developers of Nigeria, the Nigerian Labour Congress and Federal Housing Authority of Nigeria also made submissions. The Federal Mortgage Bank and the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System are to reappear at the next sitting. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Days after his pledged support to the Renewed Hope initiative of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association, DPOA, has made good his promise with the donation of food items to the initiative. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo completes the report.
Oluremi Tinubu may have taken on the burden of improving the welfare of women and other vulnerable groups in the country through our pet project, Renewed Hope Initiative. Achieving full and sustained actualization of that mission requires the input of all well-meaning Nigerians. Ironically, women who are the intended beneficiaries of our initiative are taking the lead in response to our call for support. These food items, including bags of rice, semovita and groundnut oil, as well as clothing materials, are what Defense Staff and Police Officers' Wives Association, the POWA, is handing over to the RHI to support the cause. Wife of the Chief of Defense Staff and National President of the POWA, Ogogo Musa, while presenting the items to RHI, says the donation is in fulfillment of the pledge by the association.
The POWA is known for empowering youth, women, children. We organize seminars and trainings for those in the barracks, outside the barracks, and the environment. When our mother came on board with this Renewed Hope Initiative, so we felt that it's also a good thing for us to support our idea.
Receiving the items on behalf of the First Lady, a member of the Renewed Hope Initiative Governing Board, Professor Afsatu Ganduje, appreciated the POWA for the gesture with a promise that the items will be judiciously distributed to the needy.
This is exactly what we require in Nigeria. This is what is going to bring love, care, and unity among all of us. So the project is not just for First Lady, it is for all Nigerians. We are calling on all willing groups and individuals who really want to partner with us, that we are ready.
The story of collaboration for empowerment is expected to continue as more well-meaning Nigerians lend their support to the cause. In Abuja, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Similarly, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has extended relief to victims of the 2022 flood disaster that ravaged 15 local government areas in Oyo State. Correspondent Shola Wahid reports that the intervention is to mitigate impact of the disaster on the affected people.
The intervention program is specifically for those affected by the 2022 flood disaster and those classified as most vulnerable in Oyo State. The relief items handed over to Oyo State government by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, included livelihood equipment, food items, non-food items, and farm inputs. Director General of NEMA, represented, told them to ensure judicious distribution of the support items to beneficiaries without delay.
I want to assure each and every person that has a slip is going to benefit from this federal government intervention to be able to enhance productivity and be able to stimulate the economy and the food insecurity.
The Commissioner for Special Duty, who received the items on behalf of Oyo State government, commended the federal government for living up to expectation.
Getting to the appropriate person, that is very easy for us because those that were affected by 2022 flood, they had already been enumerated. They had been captured before, these equipment and foodstuff, arrived.
The items were therefore received by local government chairmen of the affected communities. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
The Abuja Light Rail project will receive topmost priority to ensure ease of transportation for the residents. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, gave this indication during the special tour of the rail system in Abuja. Onoze Yakub was there and files in this report.
The 23-kilometer lots 1E and 3 of the Abuja Light Rail project has since been completed, but has remained non-functional owing to acts of vandalism carried out on some critical components of the system. The first official engagement outside the office by the 17th FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, is to inspect this critical national asset with a view to reviving it for the immediate use of the public.
I can assure the public this is one project we must take to logical conclusion. It is not going to be a project we'll just abandon. Let's complete this before we go to lot 1B. And I thought too, by when you started this project, you would have identified which areas are the most traffic areas. That's what is important. most traffic areas where you talked about Yaya to Karu. You would have considered this. I don't believe in doing so just in the city for elites. Yes, it will help for those going to the airport. So you have the traffic decongestion, those going to the airport. But in future, let us consider which is more important for us now if we are trying to reduce the traffic area.
One of the short-term area that we need to have, we have a concern and we need to see we've done something on it is the transportation. As he had mentioned, security is also a priority area. We're going to look at the sanitation of FCT and also transportation. And railway is one of the transportation systems that we have to look at.
The FCT Minister and Minister of State, as well as other members of the entourage, later had a feel of the train ride from the metro to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport train station.
With the assurances given by the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, is an indication that very soon residents of the territory will begin to enjoy eco-friendly transport system in the nation's capital city. From the metro station, Onoze Yakubu, NTA.
The strategic role of brand building by the Nigeria Institute of Public Relations will be harnessed by the current administration to inculcate integrity into citizens. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris Malagi, at the annual general meeting of NIPR, reaffirmed that the era of using propaganda in disseminating government policies and programs is gone. Saliu Gwanara reports.
As a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations for many years, the function provided an opportunity to rub minds with members of the NIPR on the need to deploy their wealth of experience in providing strategic advice in image and corporate rebranding of Nigeria in order to add value to the government reorientation agenda.
You are aware that the focus of government now is how to restore the confidence of the governed in government and its institutions. You are aware of the vantage and strategic intervention that the communication spectrum can assist tremendously in making the profession more relevant and more focused to achieve national expectations and concentrating on the key issues that predominate our national life today.
The minister acknowledged that current challenges within and outside the country required effective communications and challenged members of NIPR to lead the way.
We are the storytellers, the bridge builders, and the custodians of reputation. Our work shapes perceptions, it guides decisions, it fosters relationships, and extends far beyond the boardrooms. As guardians of reputation, therefore, we must learn very fast to navigate uncharted waters with ethical responsibility and a commitment to truth.
He said the present administration is determined to restore the confidence of the people in democratic governance. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Just watching NTA Jabode News. There will be more reports after this message.
$1,000. We go once play tire. Farabade now.
Madam, hello lowo wa.
Brother, na 3,005.
Màá fún yín ní owó pé káàdì Glo ẹlẹ́gbẹ̀rún 10,000.
Oh yeah.
Bring your phone.
Ha! 10,000.
1,000 naira credit. Now you turn to 10,000.
No. All of us don't know about Glo Berekete. Ní ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá nísìnyí.
Ṣé o ti gbọ́? Ìlọ́po mẹ́wàá ló máa gbà lórí iyekíye tó o bá rà sórí ohun ìpè Glo Berekete 10 times rẹ.
I told you. Now what go tell?
Welcome back. The news continues. Officers and men of the Nigeria Police Force have been charged to embrace the transformation agenda of the Acting Inspector General of Police through the principles of transparency, accountability, and professionalism AIG Zone 8 in charge of Kwara and Kogi State, Babatunde Ishola, gave this charge during his official working visit to Kwara Police Command. Abdul Wahib Bibiri has more.
Their working visit by AIG Babatunde Ishola, among other things, is to get first-hand information on how the ranks and files of the Kwara State Police Command are faring in the discharge of their duties of policing the state. Kwara State Commissioner of Police Ebunolu Arotimi Adelesi told our boss that the cooperation and support of all the security stakeholders in the state is a major factor responsible for less crimes and criminalities in the state.
Kwara State is cosmopolitan in nature, populated with people of diverse ethnic, religious, and social inclinations, which make policing her a little technical. Thank God we have been able to manage the diversity to our advantage.
The mandate of the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbotokun, the AIG Zone 8, Babatunde Ishola, emphasized is to stamp out violence and crimes in line with world best practices.
The agenda of the new Inspector of Police, IGP Egbotokun, is accountability, transparency, and the rule of law.
The interactive session with the AIG by the stakeholders provided them the opportunity of asking questions on grey areas, as well as to solicit for assistance on provision of more patrol vehicles, construction of additional police posts, and deployment of more personnel to the grassroots. Abdul Wahid Bibiri, NTA News.
People say small things don't bother them. Observers say they have never slept in a room with a mosquito. It is in keeping with this saying that pest control and environmental health experts in the public and private sectors are collaborating to gather and use sensitive data for monitoring and surveillance in mosquito control interventions in Nigeria. Adebola Bruce has more.
A minor nuisance, but their ability to transmit diseases and their overall impact on human health, productivity, and the environment make them a significant concern in many parts of the world. Efforts to control mosquito population and reduce disease transmission remain critical for public health and well-being. Key players in pest control and environmental health are collaborating in this road walk to raise awareness on the detrimental impacts of mosquitoes on society, at the same time educate people on effective measures to combat their harmful activities. The group at the internally displaced persons camp at the new Kuchigoro fumigated the environment and presented to occupants odorless no mosquito insecticide sprays.
More than all the wars we have fought, more than all the other scourges we have had, the mosquito has killed more people than all those wars.
The rural areas, sensitizing them so that they will clean up their environment, make sure that they don't have stagnant waters where a mosquito breed.
Partners also converged on the International Conference Center, where they deliberated on the need for stringent regulatory frameworks to ensure the safety and efficacy of private sector interventions, as well as to prevent unintended environmental consequences and health.
It's imperative that we recognize the need for a comprehensive approach to combating this global health challenge. We must prioritize research and innovation, strengthen surveillance and monitoring systems, invest in capacity building and implement integrated pest management strategies.
And this is an occasion that we envisage will really bring to the fore, to the front burner, the mosquito, that it is really the issue. Once we are able to get it right in terms of controlling the activities of mosquito, the other value chain of malaria control will just be a walkover, like footballers would say.
Collaborative efforts between public and private sector, guided by strong governance and ethical considerations, they agree, will ultimately lead to more effective and sustainable mosquito control strategies in the country. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
The federal government has developed strategic documents that will serve as a guide in the production marketing of aquatic animals. The initiative is to address the bottlenecks the country is facing in the export of fish. Musa Aliyu. completes the report.
The global revenue in the fresh fish business stood at about $7.5 billion as at January 2023. The market is expected to grow by 13.12% annually in the next 5 years. Nigeria, being among the largest producers of catfish and other aquatic life, is tapping little from the global business. Reports indicate that fish from Nigeria are being rejected not only in Europe but in some African countries due to issues relating to standard.
All the necessary documents that we're supposed to have to export fish is not there.
Excessive use of antibiotics in fish farming is one of the major issues fish from Nigeria are rejected.
If we use antibiotics without respect for dosages, it will be an abuse.
The guidelines document produced by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security is to address excessive use of antibiotics. It also provides for proper techniques in preservation and treatment before export.
Will minimize the negative impact of aquatic pathogens, protect the health of human population, and also the resilience of both marine and terrestrial ecosystem within the country.
In the area of dry fish, it was reported that neighboring countries are taking advantage of Nigeria's ban to buy from Nigeria and export to Europe and other countries. This development is being investigated by government agencies. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
The Land Forces Stimulation Center, Nigeria, is providing real-time scenario to develop troops' capacity to combat the nation's emerging security challenges. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, stated this in a message at the ongoing stimulation exercise named Dragonfire. Correspondent Ismail Musa has more.
The Nigerian military is engaged in several internal security operations across the country in the ongoing drive to further secure the nation. To enhance the capacity of the Reki Battalion 245 in Ikom Cross River State, involved in the fight against oil theft, transborder crime and other criminality in the region, officers and soldiers from the battalion are at the Land Forces Simulation Center for real-time training using simulation.
It is pertinent to note that simulation exercises are critical components of military training. They enable critical assessment of components and capabilities to enable in developing tactical, strategic, doctrinal solutions. This is in tandem with the Chief of Army Staff's philosophy, which is to transform the Nigerian Army into a well-trained, equipped, and highly effective force to fulfill our constitutional responsibilities in a joint environment.
And this exercise is meant to simulate a joint task force battalion comprising an integrated force of military, police, civil defense, immigration, and other security agencies in the art of planning, preparation, and conduct of military operations other than war.
Similarly, the Director General of the center also played host to the Commandant National Defense College, who is on a working visit.
This need for the college to partner with the center in the area of simulation training is one of the major reasons why I've come on this visit.
The Simulation Center is determined to develop troops' capacity in view of the complex threat environment. From the Land Forces Simulation Center in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
A two-story building which serves for residential and commercial purposes collapsed Wednesday night at Lagos Street, Garki, Abuja. Correspondent Abdullahi Ajia gives us an update.
As at Thursday morning, when the rescue operation resumed with so many efforts from agencies putting efforts together to rescue more lives, the officials say it will be preemptive at this moment to state the number of casualties of people affected, as they're still rescuing more people to ensure that more lives are saved from the unfortunate incident.
So we are not sure of how many people were in the building. So the best thing is for us to get to ground zero and then be certain for ourselves that everything is concluded. And I also want to use this opportunity to appreciate all the stakeholders for really teaming up.
This tragedy has left the entire neighborhood in shock
as residents watched the evacuation and rescue operation lasting several hours.
I'm about to close when this incident happened, so I hear the noise, guru, guru, guru. So my husband come and pick me, then we go run outside. As we run outside, we stand. I saw everything that I have that's collapsed.
To be honest, I'm not happy at all because I have my sewing machines inside and other things that are very important, my documents.
Just want to use this medium and the opportunity to call on the authorities, the appropriate authorities, NIBRI, all the whole this thing to conduct. Most buildings are old, so conduct a integrity test.
In the midst of the rescue operation, the FCT ministers led by the Honorable Minister Nyesom Wike and other officials of the administration were here to see for themselves what is happening. And the Honorable Minister, without mincing words, says the administration will be taking care of the hospital bills of the survivors, and also emphasized that the administration will continue to ensure that sanity in terms of structures returns to the FCT. He also sympathized with families of those who have lost their lives.
It's unfortunate for the two that are dead. I will please go to the permanent secretary to make sure that funds are raised to pay the hospital bills of those who were rescued, so that we don't want to hear any other person have passed on, and that should be done immediately.
Heads of agencies, security organizations, as well as the SAPI of Garki were among the early callers to the scene.
Well, at the moment, one cannot quantify the amount of property destroyed in this unfortunate incident. So many people are still counting their losses and also expectant of something good to come out in terms of support from government and well-meaning Nigerians to cushion the effects of the hits. Abdullahi Hajia, NTA News.
To end the news this evening, a recap of some of our top stories. We brought you a report that Nigeria and United Arab Emirates, UAE, are already addressing some gray areas in their bilateral relations. We also told you that stakeholders in both public and private sectors are collaborating to gather sensitive data for surveillance in mosquito control interventions as Nigeria marks Mosquito Day. And that concludes our package for this evening. Do join us tomorrow for a fresh package. Do have a good night rest.